Recognize Mr. O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also want to join my colleagues in thanking you for your service and the way that you've led this committee. I've enjoyed working with you in my first term in Congress and have learned a lot, and look forward to watching the great things that you're going to do in the future after you leave this institution. So thank you. To the Secretary, to Mr. Walters, first of all, I want to thank you for the great job that you do and that your team does. You have a new person in El Paso, Texas, the community that I have the honor of representing, Amy Callahan, who's doing a terrific job, incredibly responsive, works well with our team, works well and is attentive to the veterans and their families in El Paso. So through you, I want to thank her and the team in El Paso who do a phenomenal job. Thank you. And as was your predecessor, Mr. Murrow, you've been very responsive to us, to me personally. We're able to talk on the phone about concerns before they become real problems, and so I want to thank you for that as well. I think the cemetery in El Paso at Fort Bliss is in many ways remarkable. It's very clean, well kept, a great staff, and the response, and I think you probably have the data to back it up in terms of the surveys from those customers that you serve has been great. But as you know, there's one disconnect between the NCA and El Paso and our offices, and that is the fact that El Paso is one of 3 xeriscaped, or water-wise, I think is the term you use, cemeteries out of the 131 in the system. And it is deeply unpopular amongst those people whose opinion I care about the most, and that is the veterans and their families, the widows and widowers, the children, the descendants of those who are buried there. You have approached this as an either-or proposition. Either we have turf and grass, and I think your argument is that when El Paso, when Fort Bliss had that, it was suboptimal, or you have xeriscaping, which is water-wise, doesn't require a lot of management or maintenance, is cost-efficient, and in the opinion of some, it's aesthetically pleasing. To remind everybody, when we talk about water-wise or xeriscaping, we're talking about crushed rock and dirt on ground. We're not talking about a desert landscaping, although there is some landscaping with shrubbery and some trees. But imagine you're in El Paso, Texas, visiting a family member who's there, and it's 110 degrees outside, and you're asked to or want to kneel, and you can't because you're asked to kneel on this crushed gravel. I'm looking for an option, some way that we can work together to get past what is unacceptable to my community. And we're also asking to know what the criteria are that you use to make these decisions. My understanding is only 3 out of 131. I don't know if Mr. Hallinan would be comfortable converting Arlington Cemetery into a water-wise facility to save money and time and maintenance costs. I'm going to guess the answer is no. And so our contention in El Paso is that if a water-wise NCA cemetery is not sufficient for the best in our system, then it should not be sufficient for El Paso. I want to get your comments and your thoughts on that, and perhaps a suggested path on which we can work to resolve this situation for El Paso.
Sure. Thank you for the question, Congressman Rourke. Our decision to turf or xeriscape a cemetery is not arbitrary. It is based on a variety of factors to include climate condition as well as the availability of water. In the case of El Paso, as you know, the decision to xeriscape that cemetery was based on a congressionally mandated study in 1999. The results of that study indicated that if El Paso were to be maintained as a national shrine, there was not a sufficient amount of water to do so, and the study recommended xeriscaping the entire cemetery. At that point, we made the decision to make the investment to xeriscape the cemetery.
And if I could interrupt you because I only have 20 seconds. Sure. You're giving me the history. I'm asking for the future. How are we going to work together to resolve this situation? What we have today is unacceptable.
Okay. Well, just to say, I mean, our survey results, just to to put them on the record, our survey results from those who are using the cemeteries suggest a high degree of acceptance. But in answer to your question,
I would refer to my colleague's ice cream shop analogy. I don't know that we're asking those whose family members were already interred or buried at that cemetery who did not have a choice in whether it was converted from grass to rocks, and who are deeply disappointed in that and are asking me as their federal representative to do something about it. And what I get is the process that you use to arrive at this decision that is deeply unpopular and unacceptable to me and the people I represent. What I'm asking for now is how can we work together to do something? Perhaps we cannot turf the entire cemetery. Perhaps there is some water-wise solution that is an improvement upon the crushed rock that cover the grave sites that we have in El Paso at Fort Bliss today. But because I'm out of time and because it probably involves a longer conversation, I would just like to gain your commitment that we can work together to do that.
Absolutely. Congressman, we are always willing to work with you and your staff. We have done so in the past. We will continue to do that with you. I think a good launching point may very well be the study that the UT El Paso is currently undertaking when they're examining soil conditions and perhaps coming up with some recommendations or things that we can consider. So absolutely, we're more than willing to work with you and your staff.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. With that, I recognize Mr. Stivers.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for